We constantly experience emotions. Sometimes we experience them, sometimes we repress them. We like some emotions and others we don't. We consider some desirable and others we don't. If you watched the previous video of quantum psychology, where we learned to collapse and uncollapse thoughts, when you can assume that emotions, like electrons, like thoughts, can also be both particles and waves. And you can also merge with them and become one whole, turn them into a particle. And you can also observe them and uncollapse the particle into a boundless wave, given the opportunity to manifest their wave nature. Emotions like electrons can be collapsed into a certain particle and uncollapsed back into a wave by your consciousness. You can also take one emotion and recollapse it into another. What emotions do you know? Joy, anger, malice, fear. But what are those words? And what are the emotions in reality? In order to understand this, as you probably already guessed if you saw the previous video on this topic, you need to uncollapse the emotion from a particle to observe it as a wave. What are the first steps to this? We consciously remove the judgment regarding whether we should experience these emotions or not and how we should treat it. We consciously remove the evaluation of the emotion. Is it a good or bad, positive or negative? And we consciously remove the significance of these emotions for us. Thus, we allow ourselves to look at the emotion without makeup, simply, directly. We don't repress the emotion, but allow it to manifest itself without any influence on it. We will observe the emotion and track it as it is. And we will try to observe it as energy. And now think, if emotions didn't have energy, would they be important to you? Would they interfere? And would they help? Often our emotions are what give us energy, and it's thanks to those emotions we conventionally designate as negative that we receive significantly more energy. And this is one of the reasons why people like to suffer. The feelings of joy doesn't motivate us to act and live. When we experience some emotion, we are automatically merged with it. It completely fills us. And we think there is no other options but to either live it or suppress it by drawing it out. Moreover, we put a label on the emotion and designate it as something specific in the clearly defined it. For example, anger. And we perceive everything that happens to us as an experience of anger. In this case, we observe what we feel as anger, but who determined that this is anger? If we remove the label, the name anger, from what we feel, don't measure it as anger. Don't collapse reality into a particle as an experiment with the electron. If we observe an emotion as anger, it will be anger. If as fear, it will be fear. If as pleasure, it will be a pleasure. If as joy, it will be joy. To do this, you first need to observe what is happening, emotions as energy. Let's do a practical exercise. The exercises can have a therapeutic effect and be a manifestation of the quantum therapy if you allow it to happen. Choose an emotion you would like to work with, preferably something very energetic, an emotion that literally shakes you when you experience it. Sit down or lay down so that you are comfortable. Close your eyes and allow this emotion to manifest. Give it the opportunity to manifest itself as much as possible. Saturate it with energy as much as possible. What do you call this emotion? Where is it in your body? Now, distract yourself from the reason for experiencing this emotion. Send the reason somewhere far away, for example to the Eiffel Tower, and focus only on the emotion. And now remove the label, name, definition from it, and observe it as energy. Just observe without trying to interfere, control, or change anything. Observe the emotion as energy and give it the opportunity to be itself. Give it the opportunity to move, to develop the way it wants. So we uncollapse the particle and it turns back into a wave. Allow this energy to go beyond the expand to the entire universe. What are you observing now? And how do you feel it? You can write in the comment below. When doing these exercises, it is important to accept everything as it is. When we try to get rid of something or change something, we resist it. We keep it in the collapsed state and do not allow other options to manifest. In this way, we ourselves do not give changes the opportunity to manifest. When we remove the label from the emotion, it becomes just energy and can move as it pleases. We observe the energy without any intent. How does the emotion feels now in this state? Now you will be able to use this technique directly in some emotional situation. When observing any unwanted emotion, try to distract yourself from its causes, remove the label name from it, and observe it as energy that can move and can't change. Now let's try another exercise. Let's try to get high from a conditionally unpleasant emotion. In the previous exercises, we completely uncollapsed the particle to the wave. Now let's try to recollapse it. We do everything that in the previous exercises until the moment when we remove the label. Now emotion for us is just energy. Observe emotion as energy until you realize its neutrality. Then give this energy another label, for example, joy or pleasure, and observe this energy as pleasure or joy. Try to collapse this energy into the emotion you need. Well, and if you wish, then you can connect with those experiences and fill yourself with them. In this way, you will first partly uncollapse the emotion as a particle, and then collapse it with a different version of parameters. What is important to understand here? If there are several electrons, several particles in the system, then we can uncollapse only some of them. The rest will remain in the state of particles, not waves. Those in the systems with large numbers of parameters from large numbers of particles, the final collapse of the wave or uncollapse of the system usually does not occur. Changes occur at the sum level, while at the level where nothing needs to change it, everything remains. This will be important in the future when we will work with you as a complex human mechanism. And if you are interested in this topic, perhaps you will subscribe to this channel. What else would I like to add? How do disease manifest on the physical body of people? The causes of which are lived, blocked, repressed emotion. From the point of view of quantum approaches, a person experiences a certain emotion. Of course, it has a label. For example, hatred or envy. A person doesn't allow himself to express it. For example, because it's not socially accepted. But he feels it in himself, regularly experiences this emotion and suppresses it in himself. A person collapses the wave more and more and puts more and more energy both into the emotion itself and into its containment suppression. As a result, the particle becomes too collapsed that it manifests itself already at the extreme level, the physical, at the level of the physical body. And it manifests itself where is various kind of formation, tumors, or collapse in some specific organ. For example, anger is often in the liver, and worry about that people in the kidneys. By forbidding ourselves to show, to live emotions, anger, rage, hatred, and so on, we only make things worse for ourselves. We observe these emotions as something concrete, defined, and constantly present. We give them energy and collapse so strongly that they manifest physically. So, allow yourself to feel you are people, not robot. And if you like this video, like it, share it, and comment on it. This way I will understand that you are interested in this topic and that it is worth continuing. And we have many more interesting experiments and applications of quantum psychology, quantum therapy, which you can test directly on yourself.